Question 29a part 2 for 5 marks asks you to examine ways that these sports policies promote safe participation in the sport. So once again, the two things we're looking at in the question is the key term and the syllabus area. Now the key term in this instance you can see here is examine, which means you need to inquire into, and the syllabus point, which hasn't changed from part 1, which is a feature of these new style questions in the options, is that of sports policies. So if you can answer part 1, then you're well on the way to successfully answering part 2. The key bit is this, the key word here, examine, which means, or just asks you to show how these sports policies actually promote safe participation in the sport. So having a look here at the syllabus dot point again, it's exactly the same as I mentioned. Here's your 5 areas of sports policy and the sports environment. And like I said, if you address those in part 1 of the question, then you will be able to answer part 2 as long as you have examined. Now, just having a look at the marking guidelines, you can clearly see here that the policies need to relate to promoting safe participation in a sport as opposed to maximising participation. So it's about safety. So therefore your policies must be rules specifically designed to assist or aid a player's safety. And you can see here, to get the full 5 out of 5, you need to inquire into ways that sports policies promote safe participation in your particular sport. So by inquiring, you are showing how. You're not just simply stating what the policy is, you're actually showing how that policy promotes safe participation in the sport. Now, just an example of what you could have written here is in green, but I'll just cover that up just while we talk about what it means to examine. As I mentioned, it means inquire into. So in the context of this question, you need to show how they promote safe participation in the sport, they being the policies you have selected. And you need to inquire into an example from at least 3 of the syllabus areas. Now that may be a little bit harsh in the context of marking, and they may not mark that harshly in HSC, but I felt it was better to be a little bit harsher here, and we can learn from it rather than go easy on you here and then be marked a little bit more strictly in the HSC. So hopefully they won't be as harsh as that, but if you go from 3 of the different syllabus areas, it shows you have a very good knowledge of that particular syllabus. So just one example of what you could have written. Here you see syllabus area would be the rules of sports activities. The specific example would be, e.g. the head-high tackle rule in rugby league. The examine part, where you show how this is promoting safe participation, is shown here, where you say this promotes safe participation because it protects the players from being hit in the head, thus reducing the chance of brain injury. Now, a lot of you guys are able to come up with 3 different areas and 3 examples, but you didn't examine. You didn't follow the key term. You didn't actually do what the question asked you to do. So that's where you've lost your marks. If you just came up with 3 rules and outlined them, then you would have gotten 3 out of 5. If you came up with some rules, then outlined 2 of them and maybe examined 1 of them, you might have gotten 4 out of 5. Okay, but you needed to do 3 different examples. So that's one, this here is 1 example. So you need to do 2 others to get the full 5 out of 5.